New seasons, new gear. Show the world what it means to be a fan in 100% authentic gear. Fanatics, officially licensed everything.
Get ready to dive into a new world of online shopping with the Fins Tailgate. Whether you're a die-hard sports fan or just looking for the latest fashion trends, we've got you covered. With a wide variety of products from your favorite sports teams to stylish accessories and home decor, we're your one-stop shop for all things tailgate. Our easy-to-use website and hassle-free checkout process make shopping with us a breeze. Plus, with frequent sales and discounts, you won't want to shop anywhere else. So come on in and join the party at the Fins Tailgate, your new go-to destination for all things tailgate.
Good morning, Fin fans. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Top of the Tailgate here on the Fins Tailgate Network. It's currently 6:03 a.m. in the morning. I am your host, Ali the Persian, and welcome to Top of the Tailgate. And how's everybody doing on this fine Friday morning? Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Get ready for a good show. It's going to be a fun one. I see a lot of people starting to pour into the comments. If you're on the Facebook side of things or Twitch side, come over to YouTube. Come join the conversation. You know? And while you're hanging out with us, check out some of our other content. We got stuff like the El Capitan with the Fins Tailgate Show. You know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Sundays during the season as well. Calling games, doing post-game stuff. So shout out to El Capitan. You can check out myself in color, usually Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., Top of the Tailgate. Or you can get a cup of coffee with color as well afterwards. That's kind of the plan, what we're going to do from going forward. In addition, I'll be also doing late night exhale again once the season starts up. So rock and roll to that. And while you're also hanging out, check out Shake Money and Lewis doing stuff during the daytime and mid-afternoon with the drive time and smoke lounge. They also do spaces as well. So shout out to them. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, let's say you like the content, feel free to. You don't have to, but we appreciate it. We accept Cash App, Venmo. We also have super stickers, super chats. We really appreciate it. Like I said, you don't have to, but we definitely appreciate it. And if the easiest way to donate, and it actually gets you a lot more content and really cool emojis and other benefits, become a member. There's 3 different levels. We have Amigos, Familia, and MVP. It's very inexpensive, and it's a good way to get early access to some content, as well as, show off the emojis and stuff that other people that are non-members don't have. So it's pretty dope. You can also check out the TFTGnetwork.com. The TFTG network.com is our new website. We have our new merch store there. A lot of different stuff, as you saw in the commercial. It's your one-stop shop for TFTG everything. Gives you complete access to all of our content, our Twitter feeds. We're also going to be doing articles and various different things on there. You're going to see a lot more exclusive content populate there, so definitely check it out. And while we're hanging out, check out the links below. Shout out to Fanatics. You can get officially licensed everything, all the jerseys, hats, everything that we wear or get, or I get because I collect the draft hats specifically. I get from Fanatics. They always got good deals, fast expedited shipping. They got a lot of stuff going on over there. So use the link below. It definitely helps out the channel. Thank you, Fanatics. In addition, we have Backroom Collections. If you want some cool artwork, something that you can hang in your office, pretty much any room, including your place of business or a restaurant, doesn't matter. Check out Backroom Collections. They got some really cool custom artwork. There's different customizations you can do, different stuff for Miami Dolphins, other sports, and they do custom work, like I said. They also have little accessories for those mini helmets that everybody collects, so definitely check them out. You can use code TFTG at checkout to save 10% off of your order at checkout. So shout out to Backroom Collections. Again, check out the link below. Last but not least, let's check out Doobie Energy Drink. Doobie Energy Drink has some really cool supplements. I've said it before and I'll say it again. They claim that their supplements don't provide the crashing and jittering that some of the other companies do with energy supplements. In addition, they have various different flavors. They also are packed with certain all-natural caffeine as well as certain vitamins and minerals that are beneficial to the body and to your brain and help with concentration and focusing and stuff like that. So definitely check out Doobie Energy Drink. Check out Shake Money's video that he has. He does a full review and he can give you his own experience about it. I know other people that come and join the channel have tried it as well. I've heard some good things about their flavors. So definitely check out Doobie Energy Drink. Shout out to all of our affiliates. Make sure you check out their links below. Definitely helps out the channel, as well as, might be something you might be looking for, definitely. Shout out to everybody here, everybody in the chat, all our members. Shout out to everybody. Who do we have up in here? How's it going? Duke Tomlinson, what's up, man? Brian's Brains, how's it going? Concrete, I see you. Michael K is already starting early. What's up? And I could see the light. What's up, man? Definitely. What is up? Make sure you hit like and subscribe. We're just hanging out here. Color may or may not be joining the show. We'll see what happens. But we're gonna keep it moving here at the Fins Tailgate. All right. Yeah, we've had a hell of a week. Trucker Sean, I see you, man. Good morning. Thank you for the information, by the way. In the spaces, definitely appreciate that. So what is going on? A lot going on. People, pointing out different things that are going on with the Miami Dolphins and stuff, and with certain wide receivers, certain running backs. A lot of hype right before the start of training camp. A lot is going on. And we're here to talk about it. Before I do so, I'm going to keep our traditions alive, even though Color's not here right now. That's fine. Coffee of the week. Coffee of the week is still Death Wish coffee. You can get Death Wish at your local Walmart. Sometimes Publix carries it, or you can get it on Amazon as well. I've said it all week. If you've watched any of our other shows this week, Death Wish coffee, they claim it's rebellious by nature, is what they're saying. It's for those that want to defy limits and just keep on going. It's really interesting. They claim to have the world's strongest coffee, right? I will say it is very strong. I can usually, with one cup, it definitely wakes me up, and I want to say my energy lasts about almost 10 hours. So, it's pretty strong. I'm not going to lie. The flavor is pretty decent. I like the aroma that you smell when it's being brewed, that it gives throughout the house. It smells pretty good. not very bitter. It has some smooth taste to it. So shout out to Death Wish Coffee Company. You can check out their products, just so you know, at deathwishcoffee.com. You can make orders there or find locations that carry it. Some things about the company. They use a mixture of Arabica and Robusta beans, and they try to maximize on the benefits of both beans to give you the strongest coffee. In addition to that, all of their products are guaranteed to be fair trade certified, which, if you don't know what that means, that basically means that the farmers and everybody that was involved in growing the crops were fairly paid properly for the product. That's what that basically means. Some interesting factoids about Death Wish. They were created in 2012. They got introduced to thousands of people in 2013 on Good Morning America. They were the smallest company to run an ad during the Super Bowl 50. That was interesting. In addition to that, they also they partnered up with NASA and created a freeze-dried version of their coffee that was actually served on the International Space Station. So I thought that was awesome. That happened in 2018, just so you're aware of that. So I thought that was really dope. Shout out to Death Wish. I kind of I'm gonna try one of their other flavors. The original one is their dark blend, which I really want to try because I hear that's like the cream of the crop. So that's what I've heard, at least. All right, cause for cleats. Keep it moving here. Today's cause for cleats, and actually, before I do that, because it kind of goes hand in hand, I'm going to give you the weather reports. Currently, the skies are cloudy. Currently, partly cloudy. Today's high in Miami is 88 degrees, low of 79. It's currently 83 degrees with about 87% humidity. Slight chance of rain. The afternoon chance of rain does increase. Not very much, though. It's only about 12%. You're more likely to see rain in the evening if there's going to be rain today. So, as it's been raining all week here in Port St. Lucie, I would like to say, stay dry, my friends. That's what I would like to say. But current traffic reports, since I want to say about 5 a.m., there's been several collisions and accidents throughout Miami with injuries. Please stay safe. I definitely want to say that to everybody. Be safe. Be careful driving. It's not worth the risk. If you need assistance, call for an Uber or Lyft ride, or call a friend, somebody to come get you if you need help. But yeah. But today's cause for cleats is actually Jeff Wilson's, and that is MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Their mission of Mothers Against Drunk Driving is to end drunk driving. There's about 388,136 injuries per year due to drunk driving, right? Their mission is to help fight drugged driving. Yes, drug driving. About 43.6% of all fatality injured drivers tested positive for drugs. That's a very high amount. They also, their mission is to support victims of these violent crimes. About 13,384 people killed in 2021 due to drunk driving. Give you some statistics. They also, part of their mission is to prevent underage drinking. About 4,300 people under 21 killed every year due to drunk driving. They have a lot of different programs that they invest in. Just so you're aware, let it be through technology and safe rides, court monitoring. There's different programs that they use to help families and whatnot. So definitely, it's definitely something to look into. If you've been affected by drunk driving, or someone that has needs assistance, you may want to check out MAD. There's a lot of different programs and ways that they can help. Or if you're looking to donate for this type of cause, maybe it's affected you and you want to, donate to further that cause, check out mad.org. That's MADD.org. They can talk to you more about their program and how it got started, as well as the different programs that they provide. They can help you find an attorney. There's many different victim impacted panels, victim assistant programs, different programs and stuff that they provide with drunk driving and people that have been affected by drunk driving. So shout out to Jeff Wilson and mad.org. Again, I've said this from the beginning. We're not affiliated with any of these Cause for Cleats or any charitable organization that we talk about here on the top of the tailgate or the TFTG. We are just bringing the human side back to the community. We're letting people know that these programs exist, and we're just giving them the shout out that they deserve to bring awareness. That's all it really is. And I think it's good as a community. I think it's good for the mind, the body, and the soul, to know about these programs and to bring awareness to them. As if you've hung out on our show during the afternoon or even in the nighttime shows, things can get crazy. We sometimes I even sound like I'm about to have a stroke. Michael K says it all the time. I need to calm down or take it easy. You're right. I need to, and we need to bring back to the we're all human. Even these players are human. These players may have been affected by various different issues, and that's why they are part of these causes, or they believe in these cause for cleats. And that's why I want to bring it to light, because in the end, we're all the same. So, and we all may need help at some point, and this is my way of bringing awareness to help people. So shout out to Cause for Cleats in the NFL, and shout out to Mad, and shout out to anybody that definitely gets help with any of these different organizations. Who else do we have up in here? I just want to see if there's anybody I missed. Louis Amador's in here. What's up, Louis? Louis, come on up if you want, man. If you got time, come on up. Color's not here. If you want to talk or just have anything you got to say, come on up. If you need the link, let me know. Concrete, I already mentioned. Trucker Sean. Just trying to see if there is anybody else. Like I said, hit like and subscribe. And just want to... there's a few things I'm going to go over that's been in the news recently. We'll definitely talk about it. Some updates regarding the team and training camp. And then I think the second hour, we're going to primarily do a Q&A for the most part. I don't really have a lot planned without Color being here. So I see a lot of people are talking about Eichenberg. Yeah, it is very possible that he ends up as a backup center at this point. That's what I think will happen. Is he the solution at backup center? I don't know. We lost Dieter, so I can't really say who the true backup center is going to be. But you got to start somewhere, and we got to find a spot for him if we're really going to try to at least be invested. So maybe that's the spot. Maybe he shines and he ends up being that golden goose at that position that we didn't know we had. So let's keep it going though. All right, so let's start off. I would like to say congratulations to anyone that was drafted in the NBA last night. Some interesting storylines. It was pretty cool, watching ESPN and listening to different stories. And it wasn't just the players that you heard their stories and stuff, but the moms, the sisters, and I want to say there was a family of siblings that got on, got to, was part of the interview and everything. It was really dope. I thought that was pretty neat. But shout out to them. Congratulations. My Lakers, we had some interesting, we got an interesting pick. It was kind of cool. Our first pick that we got, and I apologize if I don't say his name right. Let me actually look at it to say it properly. So, hold on one second. I'm so sorry. I had his name written down here. Here we go. Where did I put it? So it's Jalen Hood Schifino. Okay, I had to practice that a little bit. Jalen Hood Schifino, he's a guard that out of Indiana that was drafted for the Lakers. Yeah, that's my team. And he's looked really good. His highlight reels, he looks like he has a soft touch. Very good looking for the passing outlets. Can play defense too. I've heard his 3-pointer is kind of suspect, but I don't know. And the highlight reel looks pretty good. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We also drafted Maxwell Lewis. He's a 6'6" forward. So shout out to him as well. He went to I apologize if I don't say this correctly, Pepperdine University. Yeah, so it'd be pretty interesting. I'm actually surprised we drafted somebody. I expected us to trade. There was rumors that we were going to trade out of that pick. So, it is what it is. But I kind of think we need to, start developing instead rather than just trying to get all veterans on this team anyway. We got to look at the future, not necessarily always the current. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But keep it moving. What else went down in sports? Let me see if there was anything else in sports besides the NFL. Pretty much the highlight last night was the NBA. Let's keep it going though. In the NFL, various different things have been said. Recently, somebody was inquiring with Des Bryant, who your top 5 fantasy wide receivers for the season were. And surprisingly, Tyreek Hill's not on this list. You got Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, okay. Justin Jefferson, I get it. I'm not so sure about Stephon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb, right? I don't know if Dak Prescott can stay healthy enough to really give CeeDee Lamb the lift he needs, as well as to make sure he maximizes on his potential. And Stephon Diggs, with all of the Buffalo shenanigans that have been going on, saying, "Oh, there's nothing to see here. Everything is fine. You guys are delusional," which we're not. And as I said, there's problems. It's coming out in the media. There's more and more problems. Oh, I don't like the offensive philosophy. I don't like, not, having a say in the play call, as they're trying to say. But I think it's a lot more than that. I think it stems from bad coaching decisions from your head coach to you lost players and did not get better at all. You really stayed pat, even though you opened up cap space, which I thought you were bringing it in to get either a big time veteran running back or a wide receiver, and that didn't happen. You know what I mean? That could still happen. I mean, there's D-Hop is technically still out there, so that could definitely happen. I just, I really thought you guys were going to make a move, big time move. It never happened. You guys really just stayed the same for the most part. So I don't know if Stephon Diggs is really going to be a big time fantasy receiver. He was weeks 1 through 9 for me last season. Yeah, he was on my fantasy team, but he disappeared after that. After that, he really disappeared. So I don't know if that'll be anything. Tyreek Hill stayed consistent though throughout the season, even without Tua. He still was consistent with the amount of fantasy points and everything I got. So I disagree. I think Tyreek Hill does deserve to be on this list. I do agree with Garrett Wilson. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. Garrett Wilson is going to be even that much better. Let's be real. And I think he was well-deserved for the Rookie of the Year as well. So shout out to Garrett Wilson, former Ohio State Buckeye. I will always show support, even though your team is shitty. Just saying. Screw the Jets. They suck. All right. Keep it moving. Who else we got up in here? Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. What's up, man? How you doing? C. Huffle. What's up, man? It says no one gives a damn about the Lakers. All right, fair enough. I know everybody here is Miami Heat fan, but I can't really speak to them. I'm not a Heat fan, so I'm speaking to Lakers. Giving them a shout out. The Lakers and Celtics basically own this league when it comes to amount of NBA championships. So in my opinion, regardless of what's going on in the current, we're still one of the top dogs when you look at our trophy case. We had to buy trophy cases for our trophies. That's how many trophies we have. Come on, let's be real. Adam Sadowski, what's up, buddy? I see you in there. I see you there. Trying to make sure I shout out to everybody in the chat. Duke Tomlinson's asking Jordan or LeBron. Ooh, that's a good question for me. I have to go back to the era that I grew up. And I'm still going to be, when it comes to the GOAT, I'm still going to say Jordan first. However, regardless, and I appreciate everything that LeBron has done and accomplished. I cannot take that away from him. But in my heart and soul, I think Kobe is better than LeBron. So, and it's not being biased. It's just one-on-one, I think Kobe would take LeBron. So I'm going to go Kobe, then LeBron. That's my order. Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. So, yeah, I have to agree. No brainer. The GOAT, in my opinion, was Jordan. Yeah, he innovated. I don't want to say he innovated, but he changed the game and how it was played, bro. Like in a sense. I want to say that LeBron is very interesting, and he has accomplished a lot. And yeah, teams have had to build around him, and he's been really consistent wherever he goes. So I have to give him that as well. But when I'm looking at player versus player, I think it's going to be Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. It's that order for me. Yeah, I know some people say LeBron, and you do understand a lot of the folk that say LeBron, most of them, not all of them, but most of them are from, grew up in a different era than I did. I grew up during the 80s and 90s, you know what I'm saying? Where a lot of those folks that are on the LeBron side grew up in either the late 90s and the 2000s. So I got to say, I got to watch, Michael Jordan play live. Not a lot of people that are under the age of 40 was able to do that. You know what I mean? So just saying, I got to watch it live, and, he was a very good player back then. Amongst a lot of other players during that time. I mean, there was so many players from his era that was really awesome to watch. I got to watch Karl Malone, Stockton, Kerr from the Golden State Warriors. I got to watch him when he was with the Chicago, back in the day. I mean, there's that the Chicago Bulls back then with Scottie Pippen and everybody. That was impressive. That was a team to watch. It's very hard to replicate. I think the Lakers got close at times, but that team alone, those championship teams that Chicago had at the time they were the cream of the crop to me. So, let's see here. What else is going on in the NFL? That was big. Des Bryant said that. This was kind of interesting. So, I'm surprised that the NFL hasn't really looked into this, but Aaron Rodgers is pushes for the acceptance of psychedelics. And if you don't know what psychedelics are, they're things such as let me find it here. I had basically, and let me actually pull it up again so I can give you some examples. Classically, psychedelics have been defined to include drugs such as lysergic and diethylamide LSD, or MDMA, because of each of the compounds that produces alterations to sensory self-time and space. So mostly what he's been pushing for is more on like the mushroom side of things. It's just very interesting that you've heard of some of the stuff that he's taken in his body and that it's been borderline psychedelic and whatnot. And now he joins this conference in, I believe it was in Denver, um, that is pushing for the basically the legalization of psychedelics. And he discusses his own experiences. It's almost like, yeah, I'm taking these drugs, or whatever they may be. I don't know really how to classify them. I'm not a doctor or anything, but it just kind of seems fishy that, how can you say, you could or make the argument, I should say, that some of the stuff he's ingesting with the psychedelics, don't you think that's kind of on the performance enhancing side of things? I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not trying to create a narrative here, but it is just kind of odd. I'm down if for example, I'm down with certain things being legal now. I'm okay with marijuana, for example, being legal and everything. It's legal in some states or used for medicinal purposes. I get it. And if you're using this for medicinal purposes and it definitely has benefits, I get it. But some of the stuff that they're talking about legalizing, I question. And that's basically why I wanted to talk about this. Um, so the conference was put on by the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. The largest U.S. advocacy group took place months after Colorado's voters decided to join Oregon in the decriminalization psychedelic mushrooms. So mushrooms, basically, they've legalized. While it's a sign of growing culture acceptance for substances that proponents say might offer benefits for things like post-traumatic stress disorder and alcoholism, medical experts caution that more research is needed on the drug's efficiency and the extent of the risks of psychedelics, which can cause hallucinations. Is it not ironic that the things that actually expand your mind are illegal, and the things that keep you in the lower chakras and dumb you down have been legal for centuries? Okay, that is a good point. But it goes on to say that Rodgers, who had previously discussed his use of, and I cannot say this correctly. If Color was here, he would be able to tell you, ayahuasca. Um, So that was kind of interesting. I have to look up to see what that is. I think that's the product I was thinking of that he's used in regards to psychedelics. Um, Sorry about that. Had something caught in my throat. Let's see. He goes on to say Rodgers, who will soon debut with the New York Jets after years with the Green Bay Packers, spoke at the conference with podcaster Aubrey Marcus. Rodgers described taking ayahuasca with his teammates as radically life-changing, and said many other pro athletes have reached out to him. The response from the other people in the sports industry has been incredible to see basketball players and baseball players and surfers, entertainers, and my own teammates and colleagues across the league reach out and either share their story about their own medicine journey or ask to be part of upcoming one pretty special. One was pretty special. So ayahuasca is defined as a psychoactive beverage native to South America and is often used for religious rituals and medicinal purposes. He also said one of the bums who have criticized him, as he says, after he has discussed his experiences. I'm sorry, he called out one of his bums. Let's see, because I guarantee you all of these bums who want to come after me online about my experience and stuff, they've never tried it. They're the perfect people for it. We need to get these people taking it. Wow. First of all, Mr. Rodgers, I'm not a bum. I'm not criticizing you. I just questioning what's in this product. What benefits does it have for the body? But also, does it create an unfair advantage in the NFL in sports today? That's my question. I want to know, does it? Do you think, put it in chat, do you think that it provides a unfair or unsafe environment when it comes to on the field? Do you think this helps him? Does it not help him? Is it safe? Do you think it's not safe? What are your thoughts? I want to know what your guys' thoughts on this is. And the reason I question the NFL is because I know they've tamed down or reduced things each year off the list of their banned products. But do you think there's going to be more of a story or more emphasis to create some type of rules or regulations on these types of substances now that Rodgers has been speaking for it and has been basically advocating for it? So Duke says it's a mental stimulant, not like a steroid, but even some mental stimulants can affect your thinking. It could create unsafe. Imagine if maybe it bums his energy and thought process down. Maybe it slows you down or stunts his thought process during a game. Could that could be, it could cause some type of harm or injury of some kind if he's not paying attention. Delusional Patriot says he's like that sheltered kid that smokes weed for the first time. That's funny. That is very funny. I definitely understand that. Let's see here. So Michael K is saying that it doesn't physically enhance, no difference than seeing a shrink. Okay. All right. I mean, I'm going to disagree with that only for the fact that certain psychedelics do affect your body, let alone they don't know what the long-term harmful risks are to the body yet. They're asking for more studies in it, and to provide more access to it, due to the benefits that it does have. But I understand your point. Interesting. So and actually just so you're aware, Michael K, I saw your comment earlier. I forgot to mention it. I am old enough to remember Larry Bird or Irving and Magic Johnson and other other players alike. Larry Bird is one of Lakers' biggest rivals. It used to be Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird. So I'm not going to give recognition to the Celtics. No, I'm just kidding. Now, shout out to Larry Bird. He was one of the pillars in the NBA community, and he did a lot for the game in his time, and as a coach too. So definitely. And the two teams that have the most trophies in this league are the Lakers and the Celtics. Come on, we're on top. That's the reality. Let's see. Going back onto the discussion about Rodgers, A lot of those drugs rules are made for the 1% of people, not the 9% that are just fine. That's true. I don't know if it does allow you to run faster. I can't really say to that. I don't really know how these drugs work. I guess I'm I'm just the nobody doctor or not doctor. I'm sorry. I'm the nobody, not a doctor or any medical expert. I don't know what the benefits are or the what do they call that? The other advantages to taking these medications are for you. Um, I can just tell you that in the psychedelic stuff like LSD and MDMA and stuff like that, has been harmful to the body, let alone it does have other effects and whatnot. And I don't know, is it safe enough for the NFL or not? That's really what my question was. So that's why I'm asking it. All right, keep it moving here. I think that was pretty much the news for the NFL outside of Miami news, which we'll talk about next. Let's see here. Just checking here. See if there was any other news. Okay, we'll get to the Miami Dolphins news now. So the Miami Dolphins news late last night, I want to say sometime late afternoon, or I should say early mid afternoon. A lot of Dalvin Cook talk started stirring up. There was the interview on Sirius XM, where he said that the Miami Dolphins were the perfect fit for him, you know, and he talked about the type of teams he wants to go play for. Teams that have players that can create separation and whatnot. And it's really it's really interesting how much the Dalvin Cook talk is starting to heat up. There's been a lot of doubt if he would come here, a lot of doubt that were we interested, were we not interested. Come to find out, the Miami Dolphins have been interested. They have had conversations about a contract with him, and it looks like it's coming down to the two teams that are rumored the most, I would say, are either the Miami Dolphins or the Jets for Dalvin Cook. We've talked all about the benefits of adding a Dalvin Cook for several weeks now. We've talked about the benefits of adding another running back to this room and why it's important that we need to let it be Dalvin Cook or someone else. But I expect something to start heating up. And I think what's going to end up happening here is that around the eve of training camp starting, I think that's when we're going to finally see a move made here to sign a person like Dalvin Cook or to bring in personnel. That's my opinion. So the wait between now, this article, shout out to SB Nation. This is by Josh House. The wait between now and the start of training camp is one of the worst things many of us have to go through. Okay, maybe it's not that bad, he says, but it stinks. Nevertheless, the long wait between now and the start of camp is hard to come by. Content is hard to come by. So when I saw yet another report that Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets are doing their homework on free agent running back Dalvin Cook, he says that he rolled his eyes. Interesting. After all, it's evident to everyone that the Dolphins have an interest. The same can be said for the Jets, who have Breece Hall coming off a significant injury. But the thing that stood out most in the report is what Deanna Rossini said regarding Cook and how he plans to remain patient and wait to sign a new deal until some of the other backs that have been franchise tagged get signed to their long-term contracts. And it goes on to say that there's a clip that they show, which I can't show, unfortunately, because we'll get dinged. But she says, well, the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets are just two of the many teams that are doing some homework on Cook. From Dalvin Cook's side of all of this, he was pretty open, saying that he wants to go out there and be productive. The money will come. That's his agent's job, and his agent's job to be very smart with business side of this. Rossini continues, we know July 17th is the deadline for teams to get a long-term contract extensions with those players that have been tagged. Those three running backs in the league will use Saquon Barkley as an example on a 10.1 million franchise tag, looking for a long-term extension. The Dalvin Cook side of this world, this would be smart if they waited to see if those deals would get done, because that would have sort of reset the market. That would sort of reset the market, she says. So you could see where Cook would fall. I was actually told they're going to be really patient over the next few weeks. There's no rush to get him signed up with a team until they see that these are other running backs where they fall. It is kind of interesting. I do understand that Dalvin Cook and his side wants to see what happens with the other running backs, such as Saquon Barkley. There's also Josh Jacobs with the Raiders, who has been rumored to maybe wanting to hold out and whatnot. They do have until July 17th to sign their tenders and everything. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens. I will say that I don't think that the top money is that important to Dalvin Cook. I don't think it's that. I think that's definitely beneficial, but I don't know if that really is the most important thing. A lot of you will say that, these are NFL players. Why wouldn't they want the money? Why wouldn't they want the 10 million? I agree. But I really think that NFL teams are going to stand pat that they're not going to overpay into this market anymore. They're not going to. How many times have we seen that done and it really doesn't amount to anything? I mean, Ezekiel Elliott's a good example of that. First 2 or 3 years, yeah, the guy was a top 5 running back guaranteed. You had to have him on your fantasy team, right? After he got the big payday, what have you seen from him? Since he's been paid, what has Zeke done? Where has he been? He's disappeared. He's a ghost. I don't think he's even signed with a team yet. I don't think he's with anyone yet. Maybe the Eagles. I think that was a rumor, but I don't know. I don't know if he has. Put it in the chat if you know that. Ezekiel hasn't done anything. Meanwhile, teams like the Texans have drafted Dameon Pierce, who I think is a big-time running back, could be a top 5 running back in this league. I think he has the potential to do it. Who was a 4th-round draft pick, who the Miami Dolphins should have drafted, just saying. You got 7th-rounders like Pachenko winning a Super Bowl and definitely being an X factor in games leading up to the Super Bowl, let alone the Super Bowl itself. So let's not forget that. You got teams like the Jets, for example, who invested in Breece Hall, and I can't think of the other running back's name. Knight, I believe, is his last name. Guy is definitely a formidable back. I had him on my fantasy team due to the Breece Hall injury, and he held it down, bro. What I'm saying is that you don't have to invest top dollar anymore, and I think that has reset the market to where it's at, where teams aren't going to pay the top dollar anymore. Teams are going to, let's be real. Running backs in this league are on borrowed time. They are. You don't see running backs having long careers anymore, in my opinion. Yes, there are the few. Everybody wants to bring up, Frank Gore and, people like that. Those types of running backs that last that long in this league are very few. We may remember Jay Ajayi was here for a hot minute, right? He was here for what? 2 seasons. We made the playoffs. Next thing you know, he jumps ship and goes to the Eagles and wins the Super Bowl. And what happened after that? He was gone. The guy has been missing. Somebody put out a bolo for real. You know what I mean? The guy is gone. Yeah, Ramondre Stevenson, a delusional Patriot fan, says that he was a 3rd-round pick. That's true. Michael Carter. Yeah, these guys, you don't have to invest the top dollar anymore. If you're looking at players like, that were the top paid guys in the previous era of running backs, those guys are either getting released or trying to find a team right now. Very few of them are still with their team being paid. Yeah, there's Henry with Tennessee, but come on. Henry is like the cream of the crop. He is the elite at his position. So he's that 1% of the running backs in this league that really deserves that money. You have Christian McCaffrey, for example. He definitely gets paid, and there's a reason for that. He continuously is productive, even getting paid. You know what I mean? I understand that there are certain situations, but those guys are exceeding the production that is expected of them to a level that I think is by far a lot higher than some of these running backs and what they deserve. Let's be real about Saquon Barkley, for example. Yes, last season, great season, probably one of his best seasons yet, but he's had an injury-riddled start to his career in the NFL. The first 2 seasons, he really, even though he was productive at times, he still got injured and kind of ended the season in a sense. Dalvin Cook, maybe. I don't see Dalvin Cook as a top 5 running back in his league. Top 10, yes. Top 5, I don't think so. Should we pay him? Would he get the top dollar? In my opinion, if he's wanting the top dollar and that's really what he wants, I'm going to have to say a hard pass. I can get a Leonard Fournette or a Kareem Hunt a lot less costing. Yeah, running backs do get replaced out of any position faster than any other position. I want to say it's Kansas City Chiefs. If you look at the past 3 years, they haven't had the same starting running back, I want to say, that started throughout the whole season for them at all. They drafted, what was his name? Edwards-Helaire, right? He had his first season, he was great, and then he disappeared. Then I forget who the next guy was that they got. See, that's how far they go through running backs now. It's like, oh, you're good for this season. Next season, we got somebody else. They drafted Pachenko, and the other guys became, disappeared completely, and it's all Pachenko. Next season, it'll be somebody else. I have to, shout out to Coach Reed and everybody there and how they maximize their running backs. But they also, it's the next man up. And you can tell that how they swap out running backs so quickly. Yes, Newfoundland does say that it's because they have elite tight end and QB. This is true. But I think if you look at Andy Reid's history with not just Kansas City, I always thought that his system and his offensive calling definitely benefited the running back position, even without an elite tight end, or even QB for that matter of fact. Donovan McNabb was a really good QB for his time, but he never really put it all together. So I can't really say he's elite, whereas Mahomes, I definitely think is elite. Mahomes, let's be real. Mahomes is the best quarterback in this league, hands down. With Tom Brady being retired, there's nobody better at playing the game at this time. Let's be real. Duke says Cook wants $10 million. It's possible. I just don't think so, because he did say, I believe in the same interview on SiriusXM, I believe he said that even if it's not necessarily like it's about what fits for him. It's about the fit and how the team would embrace him and whatnot, and how he molds and gels with the running back room. He did say, I think he did say something to the fact that he wouldn't necessarily, take the most money. I'm sorry. he wouldn't mind taking less money and getting a chance to, raise the trophy and everything. I think it was something to that effect. So I understand, but if the right situation comes up for him, I think he would take less. I honestly think that this deal is coming. It is coming faster than you think. Um, and I don't think it's going to be 10 million. I want to say it's between 6 and 8 million is what will get him across the finish line. That's my prediction. I agree, Newfoundland. Without Henry, Titans would be nothing. I agree. They've traded out all of their assets. Maybe if AJ Brown was still there, they might be something, and some of the other weapons that they had. They have been slowly, what's the word? You know how we rebuilt in 2019? They're slowly doing that without making it look like they're rebuilding. That's really what they're doing. I think Tannehill's days are numbered. I think they're gonna, they're going to you're gonna see a big change over the next 2 seasons with them. So that is a good question. Do I think McDaniel is happy with Mostert and A-Chain? I think he's happy with the talent they provide and the potential of production that they can provide, definitely. But one thing you have to remember with McDaniel's system, especially if he wants to run it similar to what the 49ers did, it is very grueling for the running back room. If you go look at the previous history, the past 3 seasons, even to when Mostert was there at the 49ers, the running back room has always been riddled with injuries in San Fran. They always had injuries, but they always had the next man up, the next best thing, coming in. They even went out as far as trading for Christian McCaffrey due to the injuries, and they wanted to bring a little bit more stability to their running back room. I kind of think that last season we had issues where we were missing certain aspects to the running back game, running back room, I should say, in certain aspects. There was games where, Raheem Mostert had some injuries or a knock, and it was primarily Jeff Wilson. Then there was a game Jeff Wilson missed, and Raheem Mostert had to carry it by himself. Yes, we got, A-Chain, but he's still a rookie, and we're in the win now mode. To really get defenses to respect your running back room, or running back game, I should say, and to open up things, I think more so for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, bringing in a running back such as the Dalvin Cook, I think would help that. It would force defensive lines and linebackers to respect our running back room a lot more, take the pressure off, and create separation for the wide receivers. I think it makes the wide receiving game a lot easier. You could also use a Dalvin Cook, or even if, let's say, we go a different route and went with Leonard Fournette, you could use either or in the wide receiver room. I think Leonard Fournette does it a lot better, could be a lot cheaper, but for the long term of things, because you still are going to have to, in the next 2 years, you're going to have to bring in more running backs. I think you can maybe get an additional 1 or 2 more years off of Dalvin Cook, rather than the Leonard Fournette, which I think would only be a 1 or 2 years max. Maybe. I would say 1 year, most likely, with Leonard Fournette. Questions are being asked. We'll get to Q&A. I do want to answer some of these questions. I'll answer Duke's real quick. He's asking, are you confident in Jackson being Tua's blindside tackle? This is what I can tell you. There has been times that Austin Jackson has shown potential that he can be a really good offensive lineman in this league. Let it be left tackle or guard. And he did play right tackle in college in a similar system. The issue that I think he's had is he hasn't been healthy the last 2 or 3 seasons, and because of that, um, you really haven't gotten to see what potential the potential at its fullest. You haven't seen him really bring to the table what he can do if he puts it together. That's the issue. This season, this off season, he has come in lean and in the best shape that he's ever been compared to the previous off seasons. Um, I have confidence that he's going to put everything into it being a contract season. I think he's going to do whatever he can to show his worth, and it's really going to push him to play his heart out. That's what I'm confident in. Will it, will it be enough? I don't know. There are other players that I think we did upgrade a little bit at the left guard position. And I think that might hold it down. I think we do have players that could help out, in this case. That's another thing. Thank you for reminding me. If we do go a Leonard Fournette, let's say we don't go Dalvin Cook, but we go Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette's a really good pass blocker. Let's not forget that. So that's one thing this running back room I think is kind of missing a little bit. We do have Alec Ingold, which is a fullback, but at the running back position, we don't have necessarily the best pass blockers. And I think if you add that to the offense, that can help cover up some of the insufficiencies that the offensive line may have. I agree with Newfoundland. Go get Dalvin Cook. I'm at the point that do whatever it takes. We've said we're all in on all these players that we've signed. We paid Tyreek Hill the bag and everything. Let's do whatever it takes. Go do what the Eagles did. Go get all the positions of need and depth and add it even all the way into training camp. You know what I mean? Go get that defensive tackle. Let it be Hakeem Hicks or whoever it may be. Go get that defensive tackle. Go get the running back that is going to make defenses respect you, let alone bring more solid depth to the running back position. Go get whatever other position you need. I still think that we may need to bring in a middle linebacker somewhere. I kind of think we do. Yeah, you do have Van Ginkel that has been worked out in the inside linebacking position, but I do agree. Go get these players that you need to win the Super Bowl. Go all in this season. Don't just play it and see what happens. You've invested so much. You invested all the draft capital. You basically risked our future on this. Go get it done. Bring it home. You know what I mean? Go get us to the Super Bowl, whatever it may be. Go get it. So let's keep it moving. I'm gonna do a quick rundown real quick. We're past the 7:00 hour, and I want to do the rundown, and then we'll play Q&A for the most part. There's some other things we might talk about. I might talk about camp battles. We might talk about training camp all the way to 8:00. So currently, if you're just joining us, this is Top of the Tailgate. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. It's currently 83 degrees, high of 88 in Miami, low of 79. It feels like 95 degrees, so stay cool, please. The humidity is currently at 87%. This morning, it's only a 2% chance of rain. It's mostly cloudy. And later in the afternoon, that increases to about 10% chance of rain. So we'll see. But yeah, going into next week, it's something else that could be kind of worried about. We're in the hurricane season already. It kind of kicked off. We already got 2 tropical storms rolling up this way. You have Tropical Storm Brett that's going more of a south across the north of South America and into Central America. But then you have a new one that has formed that's more north and more likely based on the track to hit the East Coast, maybe parts of Florida and Georgia possibly, or Florida itself. And that's Tropical Storm Cindy. So that one, we got to keep our eye out. They're saying that one is more likely to head our way as early as Wednesday afternoon. You might start to see effects from it, but there is no confirmation that it will hit us. I can just tell you that one is the current angle of the trajectory is closer to us than Brett completely. So Brett is going to pass by us. So not even by us. He's going to go farther south from us. So we don't have to worry about that. Okay. Let's keep it moving. But this message is brought to you by the TFTGnetwork.com. Again, TFTG Network bringing this commercial to you.
Get ready to dive into a new world of online shopping with the Fins Tailgate. Whether you're a die-hard sports fan or just looking for the latest fashion trends, we've got you covered. With a wide variety of products from your favorite sports teams to stylish accessories and home decor, we're your one-stop shop for all things tailgate. Our easy-to-use website and hassle-free checkout process make shopping with us a breeze. Plus, with frequent sales and discounts, you won't want to shop anywhere else. So come on in and join the party at the Fins Tailgate, your new go-to destination for all things tailgate.
New seasons, new gear. Show the world what it means to be a fan in 100% authentic gear. Fanatics, officially licensed everything.
Shout out to Fanatics. Make sure you check out the links below. We have Fanatics up in here. Fanatics has your officially licensed everything. You can get everything from jerseys, hats, t-shirts, all different types of fan flair of your favorite teams, both in the NFL and other sports alike. They got signed memorabilia. They have everything there. Check them out. If you use the link below, it helps out the channel. We really appreciate it. That being said, also, Fanatics always running deals. They always got 65% off of this, that, the other. Their clearance section has really good stuff in it. It's, and they always got deals running in sales on different jerseys for different players and teams. They have split payments. They got a lot of stuff. I mean, I ordered a custom jersey that I'm going to debut at the games as well as here on the Fins Tailgate. And that jersey arrived. I ordered it on a Friday. It arrived Monday afternoon. That's how fast they are. So check out Fanatics, one of our affiliates. While you're also hanging out, check out Backroom Collection. They got some really awesome artwork, canvas work that you can customize with different framing and stuff like that. Not just for Miami Dolphins, but for other teams, and they do custom work as well. You can save 10% off your order using code TFTG at checkout. So check out Backroom Collections. Their link is below. And last but not least, check out Doobie Energy Drink. You got to stay awake for watching these snooze fest games with the Jets, Patriots, and the Bills. Definitely the Bills game, you're going to fall asleep. So make sure you stay awake. Use Doobie Energy Drink. They claim that they don't provide the crashing or jittering that other energy drinks do. They also don't include some of the harmful stuff that they put in that stuff. Compared to the other ones, they have more vitamins and minerals that naturally benefit the brain and help with concentration and focus. So check out Doobie Energy Drink. There's a review video of their flavors and stuff, and live thoughts, process, and reaction to it. Check out Shake Money's video. It's about 4 minutes long. He actually tries Doobie Energy Drink. He can tell you what he thinks. But while you're hanging out, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Check out some of our other content, El Capitan and the TFTG show go on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sundays during the season, calling games. You can check out Color and myself here on the Fins Tailgate, top of the tailgate in the morning, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., Monday through Friday. You can also check us out on Saturday nights. We're going to be doing Late Night Exhale. Now, because we're going into the season, me and Color, or if I'm just going to the game, I may only be on the show for about 2 hours. But, Shake Money and Color or whoever else is there can extend the show a little bit longer, but I'm going to be on. I'll at least open up the show for about 2 or 3 hours, at very most, because I got to get up super early and get the the van packed and everything for the game. So yeah, so just so you're aware. But check out Lewis and Shake Money stuff. They got a lot of stuff that they're doing. The Smoke Lounge. You got drive times. You got Saturday nights with Shake Money up until the season starts. Shake Money can also be found on Larry K's channel doing In the Blender. There's some interviews that he does. So shout out to Shake Money. He's running around like a madman here. Make sure you like and subscribe and check him out as well. While you're also hanging out, check out the TFTGnetwork.com, our brand new website, our one-stop shop for TFTG everything. You can check out our store. We got t-shirts, hats, and these aren't no basic t-shirts. Some of the stuff was very thought out, fun, customized. You can customize colors, by the way, and sometimes the material and whatnot. They got everything from handbags, stuff for the ladies, playing cards, blankets, towels, stickers, all that kind of stuff. There's mouse pads. There's tons of stuff we got over there. If you're looking for gifts for somebody, maybe it's a birthday or a promotion or something, check out the tftgnetwork.com and check out our merch store. There's a lot of stuff you can see there. You can also save 10% off by signing up for the newsletter, which we will give you instant updates on upcoming TFTG content as well as events and other stuff TFTG. That's the fastest way to find out using signing up for the newsletter, by the way. We also have different memberships and stuff that the website will have to get exclusive TFTG content. That's coming soon, so stay tuned. We also accept donations through Cash App, Venmo. If you'd like to become a member here on YouTube, click the membership link, and there's 3 different levels. They got Amigos, Familia, and MVP. It's the most inexpensive way to show your support to the channel. And that being said, it also gives you access to certain emojis and stuff that you get to use in chat versus other people that are non-members. And in addition, you get access to certain content and whatnot that the others may not as well. So just so you're aware of that. But make sure you hit like and subscribe, turn on notifications, tell your friend, and everything. And as you've seen last week, we hit 5,000 subscribers. We couldn't do it with you guys, so here's to the next 5,000 subscribers. And shout out to everybody in the chat. If I haven't shouted out your name yet, shout out to you. I see Mark's up in here finally. Flava J, how's it going? I just want to see if there's anybody else that I missed so far. But shout out to everybody. That's funny. I'll talk about that shortly, Mark. That's funny, actually. But yeah, let's keep it moving here. Let me make sure I didn't have anything else to talk about. I thought there was something else I wanted. Oh, so the Miami Dolphins released their training camp schedule. That was kind of interesting. They got some. If you've never been, I've been to going to games and everything. It was my first time last year going to training camp, and it was really fun. It was kind of you could kind of pseudo in a way tailgate at your car. It was great meeting up with different fans and whatnot. If you don't know, they had something called the garage sale that was really dope. They sold all of the jerseys and stuff like from previous years training camps, and these are official jerseys and stuff that was used by players, as well as helmets and t-shirts, hats, all that stuff at a discounted cost. I've shown it on the show. I have a Miami Dolphins helmet, and it's one of the newer ones, the speed helmets. I believe it's an F7, and it's made by Schutt, actually, which they don't really make those helmets anymore, but it was one of the newer ones used, is my point. And I got it signed by all the players at training camp. It's a good way to get signatures and stuff by different players and stuff. And this helmet, they normally go for hundreds of dollars. You can go on and see what an authentic helmet costs, brand new, authentic real helmet. They're hundreds of dollars. On the low end, you can get them anywhere from $350. The high end, they're upwards of $800. No joke. That's how expensive they are, right? I got my helmet for $75, to give you an example. They had authentic, real jerseys worn by players. You know what I mean? I think my friend got an Xavier Howard jersey, in fact. $75. You know what I mean? Authentic. These are real ones, the ones that the players actually wear. So it was pretty dope. I was very impressed. We got to see insight on, how the players train and the different drills that they were, doing, so you can see, how well they're progressing. We got to watch the scrimmage and, got to see what upcoming players, like there's a question going out. Who do you think the 2023 breakout player of the year is going to be? going to training camp can give you more of an educated guess on who that could be. But it's really dope. It's really meant for the fans. I definitely recommend if you get yourself tickets, definitely go. They don't charge for parking or anything. I was really impressed. Really cool. In the training facility itself, if you get a chance, do a. I've been told definitely to get a tour if you can. If there's any way you can get a tour of the training facility, it's one of the best facilities in the NFL. If you've ever been to an SEC training facility for any of the various teams, it's along that line. It's very, very top. You can tell where the money went. It's very, very, very impressive. And I hear it's really, really interesting. And that is definitely on my bucket list for this year if I can. If I can get a tour, that would be badass. So if you want more information about training camp, I think you can go to the website, MiamiDolphins.com. I believe they have a link and there's a form you can fill out, which they'll let you know when tickets become available and whatnot. So, and they give you a little bit about their schedule, specifically with the joint practices with Atlanta. And there's even going to be a scrimmage at Hard Rock Stadium as well. So, yep. So shout out to them. Let's see. Fins up. All right. Let's keep it going here. So this question has been brought up to me, and I answered Duke Thomason's question and whatnot, and this kind of goes hand in hand. Is the Miami Dolphins offensive line really all that bad? And this was written off. This is off of SB Nation. Merrick Brave actually wrote this article, so I'm going to read it. For quite some time, the Dolphins' offensive line has been the Achilles heel of the Miami's squad, at least in the eyes of many fans and analysts. However, would you be surprised to know that the Dolphins only gave up a total of 35 sacks in 2022, tied for 9th fewest in the National Football League, alongside the Las Vegas Raiders. I almost said Los Angeles Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders. That's very surprising. We were only 9th for sacks given up. Sure, you can point to quarterback Tua's ability to move within the pocket in order to evade opposing pass rushers, combined with his quick processing ability and propensity to get rid of the ball at such a fast rate as reasons for why Miami's sacks allowed number was relativity. I'm sorry, hold on. That word is not spelled correctly. Relatively low, but if that remains the case in 2023, then Tua, when healthy, will once again be able to mitigate the negative impact Miami's offensive line could have on any given game. So basically what he's saying is that with Tua, if Tua uses his ability to evade players and whatnot that may get to him, as we saw several times last season, that should mitigate the issues that they have with the offensive line, at least from what we can see from our eyes. Well, Miami ranked 18th as a team in yards per rush last season, averaging 4.3 yards on the ground for every tote of the rock. And that's without scrambling type quarterback propping those numbers up. That is correct. The Chicago Bears, Buffalo Bills, and the Baltimore Ravens ranked 1, 2, and 3 in that department, largely due to the high yards per carry marks from their starting quarterbacks. You have Justin Fields, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Even the person that filled in, I can't think of his name, that filled in for Lamar Jackson ran a lot of times. So that was due to that. Sure, the 18th ranked rushing attack, according to this metric, isn't something to write home about. But it wasn't as bad as some people would have you believe. So, what if Miami's offensive line takes a step forward? According to Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins coaches, Liam Eichenberg and Austin Jackson, the two linemen Miami fans are most worried about, uh, were each trending upwards last season before their injuries. Can those two career underperformers finally put together a solid injury free seasons under the tutelage of new offensive line coach Butch Berry? That's a good question. If so, that would be a long way to allowing the Miami offense to take another step forward and the giant leap that made last season they made last season. Hmm. Regardless of how you feel about the Miami Dolphins starting offensive line, their depth did get better with the signings of veteran players from around the league. Former first round tackles Isaiah Wynn and I apologize if I butchered this last name. Cedric Ogbuehi, I think that's how you say it. Apologies if I didn't say that right. Were brought in to compete for starting roles. Isaiah Wynn is probably going to be our starting left guard. I'm going to almost put him as a lock, almost, based on what I know he can do and what he brings to the table. Someone to look out that may push him. Dan Feeney might be able to push him there, but I think Isaiah Wynn has that job, just so you know. But if they're unable to secure a spot in Miami's top 5, then they should have at least provide a decent insurance if injury issues arise. Dan Feeney, who I just mentioned, a capable backup at multiple spots along the interior of the offensive line, will provide that same insurance at the guard and center positions. That's interesting. Did Miami's offensive line get remarkably better this offseason? No, probably not. But do they find themselves in a more capable position in handling inevitable absences that they faced with them throughout the season? I think so. I hope so, he says. Yeah, so the offensive line is going to be a big question mark. But they did add depth pieces, from around the NFL, such as Ogbuehi and Wynn. I think Wynn is going to be the starting left guard. Dan Feeney can be that swing guy that can play different interior positions, such as center or guard. The question mark is going to be the right tackle. At least we have one question mark kind of now when it comes to our offensive line. Before it was 5 question marks. Then you brought in Armstead, and you obviously brought in Rob Hunt before that. So you have Rob Hunt, Armstead, and then you have Connor Williams that definitely showed he can play center. I honestly think he was a top 5 center, regardless of some of his high snaps. You have to understand he was technically a rookie at playing the center position full time in the NFL. So that was his first season. I think with more practice and more experience, he'll get better and better. I think this season he's going to fix that completely, to be honest. And I think that's why he wants to be paid, because he knows he found his golden goose, regardless of the team. I think he showed he can play center. Just my opinion. You added those players, so you've reduced the amount of question marks. Going into last season, it was right tackle and left guard, and you kind of left it open. This season, I think you kind of addressed the left guard position with Wynn. You've added some depth pieces. The big question mark, can Austin Jackson be our starting right tackle? Or will it be somebody else? Or will we bring in somebody? People might get cut after training camp. It happens. You might see veterans get cut after training camp, and we might pick up somebody. That could still definitely very well happen. But at least we're now dealing with one question mark, which I think as a team, as a quarterback, as help with blocking, such as the tight end position, I think you can mitigate some of those issues through other positions. So I do think that the offensive line this season is going to take a step forward. I think you're going to see the most productive year that you've seen in the past 3 seasons when it comes to the offensive line. Not saying we're top 10, but I definitely see that. I definitely think, as a team standpoint, that our offensive line is going to be ranked higher than 18. I would say I could see us getting in the top 12, for example. Maybe a top 10. That knock on wood. That's what I hope. That's the hope. But I think that we're that much closer. I think the margin that we've created between us and some of the other teams, specifically that landed in the top 10, I think you're going to start seeing that margin, reduce itself. It's going to become thinner and thinner. I see a lot more people joining and watching the show now. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys. It's just me for today, it looks like. I don't think I'll have to find out what's going on with Color. I think he may have oh, yeah, it looks like he might be feeling under the weather. So prayers for Color. Everybody, make sure when you see him, tell him I hope he feels okay. Looks like he's not feeling very well. He just messaged me. So sad face. Pray for you, Color. Hope you feel better. But let's see. It's currently 7:27 a.m. I got about 30 minutes. I want to do some Q&A. I don't really get to interact with you guys as much as I used to in the chat and whatnot with Late Night Exhale. But I definitely want to make sure I talk to you guys now. So go ahead in the chat, ask questions. I'm going to look through here. I know there's some questions that people had and comments. I want to go through them. So go ahead and ask your questions and we'll talk about them. So let's see here. I'm just trying to see what we got. What's up, Joe Levesque? Or yeah, sorry if I didn't say that correctly. What's up, Joe? I haven't seen you in a while. You're right. You're right, Mark. The number of sacks is only one element of how well the offensive line plays. You're absolutely correct. That's what the article was primarily talking about, because when you look at things, we always level sacks as a lot higher weight than some of the other elements. There are other elements to it. As a team, as an offensive line, we ranked 18th. I think we could get better. And I think, as you know, it may not be the perfect offensive line at the start of the season, but I have a feeling by the end of this season, our offensive line is going to be performing at much higher levels than what we've had in the past. That's just my prediction. Yeah, running QBs do provide extra level of injury possibility. I would say yes and no. They definitely can. Specific to the quarterback position, yes, it can. But I think when in the macro of things, I think the offensive line or the team itself, injuries happen. I think the percentage chance of injury for any position is going to relatively stay the same, regardless if your quarterback's running or not. Just in my opinion. Who's my wide receiver 3? Okay, that's a good question. Obviously, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are your top wide receivers. The next question would be, who's going to be number 3? I've said it before. I do expect Chosen to have a bigger role in this offense. I think his body type and the type of wide receiver he is, I think that he's going to be used a lot more. So I'm going to say probably Chosen over Berrios, only because I see us using Berrios more of strictly a slot receiver / special teams person. So, that's definitely, something that, I see more of. That wide receiver battle is going to be really interesting. We have Cedric Wilson here still. He still hasn't shown me what I thought he would bring. So I'm kind of hoping he shows me something, because then, that wide receiver 3 positions could still be his too. You know what I mean? It just depends on what they do with Cedric Wilson and Chosen, and what, and how well they take the reins at that role, that they're gonna bring. Um yeah, it's gonna be tough on who makes the team and who doesn't. I really like River Craycraft in a sense to make this wide receiver team as well. I'm afraid if we let him, pass, I don't know if he'll make the practice squad. That's what scares me. Mark, I actually like what you have to say here, Mark. I'm going to post this up. He says, I think the Dolphins will try and increase the ratio of running plays this year instead of being a pass centric. I believe doing this will make the Dolphins harder to defend and make the D better. I agree, Mark. This is something we agree on 100%. I like this comment. Yes, I do think we are going to run the ball more. I think that that will definitely make it harder to defend, because you're basically taking away from your coverage and putting more people in the box because of that. So you're opening up the field more. That being said, I still think, and that's another reason, because we are going to run the ball more. You do have, the running backs we have, unfortunately, outside of A-Chain, they have been riddled with injuries previously. I kind of think that that's why we're looking at still bringing in a running back. It doesn't have to be Dalvin Cook we bring in. Like I said, there's other running backs out there, but I think that's why you're still looking, and that's why we're still tied to bringing one in. So great comment. Great comment. Give me your questions, bro. Ask me some questions, that you have. Michael K says, that's just saying can't trust the QB. We're better find a different way. Isn't that what teams do that win? Isn't that what all winning teams do? They find a way when it's not working their way. Isn't that what, I believe it was the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes was doing when they were down? They found a way. It doesn't matter if your quarterback is getting it done, your running back is getting it done, or whoever is getting it done. The fact is that they're getting it done and they're winning. That's what teams that want to win, successful teams, good and great teams in the NFL do. They find a way, Michael K. So, ask some questions, please. I know, Michael K. I'm not taking the key point of that comment. Yes, I am. You're talking about Tua, and he can't find the way, but it doesn't matter. Good teams, regardless of the insufficiencies of what other positions, they find a way. So it still matters. Well, that is a good question. Why are we paying Agba so much? I honestly think the money that Agba got last year is less than what we predicted him to get. So if you go back and look, I think it was a good deal for the Dolphins, let alone altogether. But Agba does bring something to the color. How you feeling, man? You okay?
I am. I had a little bit of a bit under the weather last night. Overslept a bit, but I think I'll be all right.
All right. Well, everybody, welcome Color. Make sure you hit like and subscribe if you're welcoming Color to the channel.
What I missed? Who'd we trade?
We haven't traded anybody. Don't worry. We're trading Michael K to the Jets for a different Jets fan instead. No, I'm just kidding, Michael K. I'm messing with you. No, but really, realistically, we've been talking about different news in the NFL. We talked Dalvin Cook earlier, what the updates with him are, and what it's between us and the Jets. It kind of sounds like. We also talked about our team, and we're currently talking about, well, we have talked about our offensive line. I read an article about the offensive line and how they weren't as bad as what people think last season. Yes, there is room for improvement, but it's not as bad. We we were 9th in the NFL for fewest sacks allowed color. Did you know that? We were 9th for the
I
fewest.
did. Actually,
Yeah.
I did know that.
Yeah. And you've been saying it all along. Shout out to Color. If you go back and watch our shows and Color's shows that he's had in the past 2 seasons, he's been screaming his head off about this, that our offensive line has not been as bad as what people thinks. The stats do not lie in what they show. So there is room for improvement, but it's not as bad and is not the main factor on why we were maybe not being as productive as we wanted to be. Isn't that correct, Color?
That is correct. And I think while everybody was, got comfortable with, that being the default answer for everything, I think people forgot to look and actually pay attention to see that we are improving. Like, a lot of people said, everything takes time. Tua takes time. So does the offensive line. And I think everybody forgot to look back to see actually where we were at compared to historically bad levels, as people used to say.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely correct. I went on to talk about some of the additions that we brought in. Let it be a win, and I apologize if I don't say the name correctly. Maybe you can correct me, Color. Ogabwehi, I think that's how you say it. The 2 offensive linemen we brought.
Ogbuehi.
Okay, I apologize if I didn't say that correctly. No disrespect, sir, to the player.
Of course, I could be wrong too, but it just, it seems right. Ogbuehi.
I'm really trying. But the thing is, I think Wynn is pretty much going to be a lock at left guard. I think he wins that position. And the big question mark is who's the right tackle going to be? For me, the right tackle, I mean, we saw Austin Jackson come in the best shape he's ever been coming in. And, because this is a contract year, he's going to try to outperform everything he's ever done with this team. So, he is more likely to be the starter because of that. But do you think maybe there's another player here that maybe could take over that role? That's a question. And do we think, and this is the biggest question, do we think that Eichenberg could be really a solid backup center? What do you think?
I don't see why not, but I mean, it's going to have to take camp to figure that out. I mean, yeah, I mean, we still, I don't see any reason why we don't need to, look at depth, but at the same time, I mean, we're in the middle of June and the options are wearing thin. So, I can understand why they're shifting people around and, looking at Eichenberg at center, because realistically, we can't really, we can't trust our offensive line to stay healthy the whole season.
Mm-hmm. Isn't Reisner a free agent currently?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so he's a guy we could look at possibly.
There have been some in the calling, looking at him lately, calling for him. Some in a package deal with another running back, but that's a different discussion.
Yeah, Dalton Reisner is a free agent, so I mean, he's somebody we could look at maybe if things with Wynn doesn't work out at left guard. But I still think that right tackle position is going to be your only question mark throughout the season. Did we find a solution? Did Austin Jackson finally become the man that we hoped he would be, at that position? So it'll be really interesting to find out what happens with it. I kind of like the fact that Dan Feeney can play the interior and the center position. So he's also an option as a backup center. So you don't have to worry about Eichenberg being your only option. In fact, before Eichenberg takes the position as a starting role, I could see Dan Feeney being the interim guy until you transitioned or had a few practices with Eichenberg filling in.
Sure, and he's another one we don't know really what we got until camp gets in full swing.
Definitely. So, Color, are you in front of your computer or are you mobile?
I am mobile at the moment.
You're mobile? Okay. Keep it going about the offensive line or anything you want to talk about Miami Dolphins related. We've been answering questions from the chat. Mark has a question for me, but I want you to answer it because I have to take care of something real quick. It says, do you believe that the addition of a power back like Leonard Fournette would greatly help on third and short, allow a greater ball control, by de facto improve the defense? I agree 100%. Go with it, Color. Answer his question more thoroughly.
Yeah, no better example was when we punted the ball back to you guys in that last regular season meeting. I mean, right there. We don't punt that ball to you guys. Josh Allen doesn't take 6 minutes off the clock and, end the game. I mean, we see it all season. We get another situation where we hand the ball off to Chase Edmonds 2 times in a row on 3rd and 2 and 4th and 2, and we can't get it. Blocking was there. Hole was open. Off tackle. And I just don't see Fournette missing that kind of stuff. I mean, the guy can fall into 2 yards. But at the same time, everybody's wants to spend the money on Dalvin Cook. I just don't understand how anybody can justify the difference in money there for the particular use scenario case that we need him for. And I know everybody's already in their fandom, so it doesn't even matter what I say about about Dalvin Cook, about the waste of money, about anything like that, because once this fan base gets their mindset on something, it's no different than anybody else they get their mindset on. We got to waste our money, bring him here, and everybody that yelled and screamed for the guy a year from now when he's sitting on the bench hurt is gonna be gone, and it's gonna be a ghost, and ain't none of them gonna be around calling for the next running back. Too many people in this fan base want to be right, and all they care about is oh yeah, well, it's not, the salary cap's not an issue today, but it is tomorrow, and somehow Dalvin Cook is perfectly fine running behind this offensive line, but I've heard, certain quarterbacks wouldn't dare come here to play because of the offensive line. Well, what makes y'all think Dalvin Cook wants to run behind this offensive line if it's as bad as y'all claim, huh? Was Dalvin Cook's eye test different? Does he see a better offensive line than Mudbone? Yeah, you're right about that, New Finland. That's why you just got to go with what you got and assume that you're going to be fine at injury. It's the same with the Tua question. I'm pretty sure Tua doesn't think he's going to be injured this year, and that's the only person that matters to. Joe Levesque, how you doing this morning? Yeah, I don't think either one of them guys make any sense without doing something more on the offensive line. Joe, I agree with you. Yep. Let's see. We are a non-stubborn play caller away from leading the AFC. All right. I guess that's what it is now.
Sorry about that, Color. I had to take care of a few things.
So when we get rid of the non-stubborn play caller, what then?
What did I miss, Color? We have a stubborn.
We're just chopping it up about the offensive line and about what, how it really doesn't matter what they do because they're going to be the butt and the heel of every joke. And I also was talking about how, once the fan base gets their mindset on something, it doesn't matter who it is or what he's ever done or what he can do. He's the guy. And I just don't see that. I cannot see the justification for the difference in, not just money, but effort to go after the guy, prop him up, if he was that guy, he'd already be in the building, would he not?
That's true.
If we want him and he's the guy and he's that much better than everybody else and he's another he's a Tyreek Hill at the running back position or whatever these people think, then he'd already be in the building. We already had Tyreek Hill by this time last year, did we not?
That is correct. We went out of our way. It was like before the draft, we had Tyreek Hill. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the roster's set.
In this case, to be fair about it, I think it was last season around the eve of training camp, we brought in Sony Michel, for example, right? So it is very possible that we still may bring in Dalvin Cook, but it's gonna come down to I think it's gonna come down to cost. I honestly think it's
agreed, but I agreed. And how much did Michelle cost? I don't think anybody
he had like
there
$2 million.
putting Michelle on the same pedestal as Dalvin Cook last year.
No. But I'm just talking about as a position and the fact that we addressed it on the eve. We even addressed Melvin Ingram, for example, on the eve, right before training camp. So I understand that what you're stating, that if he was really the guy and we really absolutely wanted him, yes, we would have him already in the building. What I think is the issue is that we have guys here already. We do see where the upgrade is, but it's going to come down to the money. I think that's really the only question here. You know what I mean? He's not a guy we absolutely have to have, but I think he does correct a lot of your insufficiencies in other areas of the field, or not really correct it, I should say, but hide it or masks it, basically. I forget who it was here. I think it was Joe. He says, I'd love to get Cook, but Fournette and Risner would make me even a little bit happier. I do agree with you. I would love to have Cook here too. I think he would be very dynamic. We would have what you would call Showtime Dolphins or Showtime Miami, on offense when it comes to our team. I just think that if you're looking at it as, depth and what the overall picture is, I think having a Fournette and maybe bringing in a true offensive line.
Ali, I hear what you're saying there, but I got an old man story to tell you that maybe can help you understand how I feel about your take just now. Right?
Damn, go for it.
We used to, we'd have this guy come on the job, brand new, back when I was young and working construction, when I could still do that kind of thing. You'd have a guy every now and then come on the job, and he'd take his hammer and he'd put it on his index finger underneath the head, and he'd start spinning the hammer on his finger, right? And it's like, so the boss, anytime somebody would come in new, he would take his hammer and he'd say to the guy, he'd show him and he'd twirl his hammer and he'd say, hey, are you able to do that? And so the person will demonstrate it. And he looks at them and he says, well, good. We already got 10 other guys that can do that.
I see your point. Yeah, I mean, I hear you, Color. Like I said, I think that... Yeah,
we already got 10 other guys that can twirl their hammer. Can you drive a nail with it?
Yeah, that's I definitely hear what you're saying. But I think primarily what is kind of like how do I say it? An enticement to actually bring in a guy like that is now you've provided a name to that running back room that defenses can't ignore. And that's basically what it is. They don't really have respect for A-Chain yet because he hasn't played in the NFL yet. You know what I mean? Mostert, they've been, they've already seen him. They already know what he can do.
Right.
And,
so it sounds like the game plan for defenses is clear. Stop Dalvin Cook, and you stop the Miami Dolphins.
I don't agree with that, bro. I think if you have a Dalvin Cook on this team, it opens it up for the receiving room. You're going to have guys like Robbie Chosen or Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle or even a River Craycraft catching balls because they're all going after Dalvin Cook. See, I think you've turned in a two-headed giant that you were able to stop both two heads and they couldn't do anything against you. And now you've made it a three-headed giant. I think that's what the enticement of bringing a Dalvin Cook into this is. Right, regardless of what the running back room did last season, let's be honest, defenses don't respect it. That's the reality.
I just don't believe that they'll respect it just because Dalvin Cook is in the lineup. Maybe at the 10-yard line because he's fat. He's a great back, but no different than they should respect Leonard Fournette.
Leonard Fournette benefits the game in a different aspect. He would be your 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 guy, let alone your goal line or red zone running back. Especially in the passing game, he's going to be a lot more beneficial than a Dalvin Cook is. But I understand what you're saying. I see your point of view. I just think that both players have great. They can benefit the team greatly in different ways, completely, and I think it's up to the
and
team.
that's really the point. Is again, it's back to the hammer analogy.
Yeah,
they can contribute to the team in different ways, but one of them is twirling a hammer, and the other is driving the nail, and we've already got 10 other guys that can twirl the hammer.
I see. I understand what you're trying to say.
I mean, maybe they can't twirl the hammer as good as Dalvin Cook, you know what I mean? But that's still all they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you want the guy that scores, it's Leonard Fournette. I mean, or neither of them. But I just don't understand the incessant need to bring this guy in the building when we didn't need him to go 10-6. Didn't need him to go 9-8 last year, I mean, and if anybody thinks that Dalvin Cook is going to give us any more than a win and a half, I just don't see it. I mean, I really don't. It's a cog. It's another cog in the wheel. I haven't been impressed by anything he's done on the field other than amass a bunch of yardage in like 2 seasons, man. I don't know what everybody's seeing. That's just me.
Did you not see what he did to the Colts?
What did he do to the Colts?
Let me see if I can bring up that
video. Did you see what Myles Gaskin did to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I mean, we could do this all day.
Well, I'm just talking about last season. So the Colt, he did make a fool of the Colts, to be honest.
Pretty sure a lot of running backs made a fool of the Colts.
I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying that that's just one thing. He's done a lot of different things. As a runner, as a rusher, you know what I mean? He would really be the one guy we would bring in that consistently ran for over 1,000 yards, 4 straight seasons, Color. We haven't had a guy like that in a while. You look at these running backs.
Yeah, but how is he going to rush for 1,000 for that kind of yardage if he's still getting the same average yards per game as every other running back in the league? We have to give him the ball more to get that yardage.
I understand. I'm just saying that.
And at 99 yards a game last season, that is more than 1,000 yards rushing. No, it's not one guy that did it. But we still put down over 1,000 yards, close to 1,700 yards rushing. I'm just saying. I mean, $10 million, bro. Really?
I don't think he's gonna cost $10 million. I need people to get off of that, bro. I really do need people to get off.
Well, if he was going to cost less than that, he'd be in the building, would he not?
And we've been talking to him. So what do you mean? Maybe he's just thinking about, there are other teams that are trying to go after Dalvin Cook. Dallas is one of them, for example. Right? And he has multiple offers. And he wants to take the best offer for him, not just as a financial standpoint, but also as a player and the fit and everything. He said Miami's the perfect fit. You know what I mean? Who's to say he's not going to take the $6 million? Maybe he's just kind of waiting to make sure that's the best deal that's out there. Think about
and
it.
Then what happens when it's not?
Let me ask you a question. When you're looking for a job, right, and you have multiple offers, aren't you going to at least consider offers that are higher paying than one that might be an easier job? Don't you think you may have done that?
I don't see yeah, of course, but that doesn't mean that these companies are just have to pay it.
My point is that if you have multiple options, you're going to sit there and look at each thing, not just the financial, but you're going to look at benefits, the aspect, how easy of work it's going to be for you, what's going to help you in your personal, life and everything. There's a lot of things that go into it. You know what I mean? And let alone, the guy wants to make sure that he's being paid fairly. And if it comes down to it, when training, if it comes down to before training camp, that's still $6 million, or, I think he doesn't get more than 8 personally. That's what I think. He doesn't get more than 8. I think that's fair value for him, bro. You know what I mean? That
may be fair value for him. That don't mean it's something we should do.
And it doesn't mean it's something we should.
That's like saying if I can get a Ferrari right now for $50,000, hey, that's a great value. I don't think it's in my best interest to buy a Ferrari for $50,000 right now.
That's your opinion. So
well, okay, that is my opinion. So, and what are we trying to say here?
I've been
offering my opinion.
I understand. I'm not trying to say anything, caller. What I'm trying to say
I don't understand why I can't just state my opinion like everybody else without everybody arguing with it for 10 hours.
Okay. I'm not trying to argue about your opinion.
I've already stated my opinion 4 times now just in the last 10 minutes.
I understand.
Because people can't accept it.
I accept your opinion. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it either.
I'm not asking you to.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure we understood that. But really what I was trying to portray is that the reason we're even in talks with this guy is because there are some benefits to having him here. The Miami Dolphins think that there are. And that is why they have talked to him, not just now, but they talked to him back in March before he was even released to see about a possible trade, right? We almost pulled the trigger then. So that being said, they must see some value of having him here. What that is, Chris Grier hasn't explained it yet. Once it happens, then we'll know, right? If they feel that, no, it's just too much money for not enough value, then they'll probably go with a Leonard Fournette or that style of running back. Because that's the one style that does make sense in a football standpoint of a typical, prototypical type of running back that we don't have is a power back. So that is the one position. That's the one type of running back. I do agree with you. I'm down for Leonard Fournette. I think when it comes to money, financially, and everything, it makes sense. But that doesn't mean the other side doesn't make sense either. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand what you're saying, and I disagree with it.
Okay. All right.
I think one side makes completely 0 sense. It makes 0 sense to me, in my opinion, to pay one more dime more than Leonard Fournette wants. That's just how I feel.
Yeah,
I look at their production year over year, and I really don't see anything different except one guy is far more massive than the other dude. And the one glaring need on our team is that we don't have a power back.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
So I've formed the opinion because of that it is a complete waste of money to pay Dalvin Cook anything above Leonard Fournette.
I understand what you're stating.
Why doesn't Fournette command any extra premium? Because he sits with a gold ring on his finger.
We don't.
How come everybody else gets a little extra premium in their value because they've got a gold ring on their finger, except Leonard Fournette when it comes to comparing to Dalvin Cook? The hell has Dalvin Cook ever done? in this league, but put up a bunch of yardage and then get hurt. Hey, I think he fits perfect with the quarterback he plays for right now because he is the Kirk Cousins of running backs. How about that? That's my opinion.
Yeah, I understand, where you're coming from, Color. I get it.
Just tired of the sycophancy, bro. We're being used and played, and when this guy signs for somebody else, and we all go, once again, somebody else used the Dolphins, somebody else that is from here that wanted to come home used us for leverage, bro. I'm tired of it. If we want the damn running back, go get him. It's not going to get any cheaper or any more expensive because the Jets are in on it. If anything, it's going to get more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Jets are going to have us right where they want us because they could sit there and run the price up until we go, oh, well, we can't let the Jets have him now. I'm done with the Dalvin Cook talk, bro. He was never worth the months of talking we've been doing about him, in my opinion.
So El Capitan says, go get D-Hop and Cook and a linebacker. Go do it now.
Got a guy that drops 3 balls in a playoff game, and we don't talk up Dalvin. We don't talk up D-Hop, the man with probably the best hands in the National Football League.
I advocate for bringing a D-Hop here. I could see that happening.
No, we go get chosen. Oh, he's the guy. And then we want to bring in Dalvin Cook to mend that Band-Aid? Bro, really? What are we doing here, man?
Chosen also came here before D-Hop became a free agent, by the way. Just so you know.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of like the Cedric Wilson thing. You got Cedric Wilson and then Tyreek Hill, that kind of thing.
Agreed. So then why do people throw Robbie Anderson at me when I say we should bring D-Hop in here? I could have thrown Cedric Wilson at them when they wanted Tyreek.
Mm-hmm. Same reasons people threw different names at me when I was saying that we're going to go get a Tyreek Hill or a type of big-time wide receiver like that. They threw names that were already here or inexpensive value names. You know what I mean? So that's same exact thing. I did have a question for you, Colin.
And I'm sorry, Newfoundland. As much as I respect you, you just can't be telling me things like that, bro. You get over it. He's not coming here, and you get over it. How about that? I mean, really, bro. Best get over it. What if I don't? Just do tell. Are you going to rail me for the rest of time like every other hater does? You going to show your true immaturity at that point? If I don't get over it, what happens if I don't get over it? I want to know. I am tired of people saying that without giving me an answer as to what happens if I don't best get over it. Tell me what's going to happen. I'm waiting. I've got all freaking day. What is going to happen if I best don't get over it? Oh, have a Snickers. Now we're going to start insulting, right? Okay. We know exactly now. So now you have just lost that much respect for me, bro, when you had gained it. Now you're acting like every other person out there, every other troll out there. Because you can't handle somebody having an opinion that don't agree with yours. Yeah, I'm going to stroke out. Keep coming with the old people jokes. Keep doing it. Keep exposing yourself for what you truly are.
Color Mark has a question for us. He says, Ali and
Oh,
Color,
am I allowed to answer a question from a Bills fan, Ali? I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't know anymore.
What are you talking about, Color?
I don't know. Everybody we're such shitty people for platforming Bills fans. Am I allowed to answer a question from a Bills fan?
You're allowed to answer questions from anybody you want, Color.
I know. I just wanted that to be clear.
Definitely. Here at the Fins Tailgate, regardless of what fan base, if you have a question, come up here and ask. Freedom of speech. So color Mark is asking, with the strength of the pass rush and quality of the secondary, do you think the Dolphins playing a 4-1-6 with Holland or Ramsey as the QB spy against teams with running threats?
What the hell is a 4-1-6, bro? Did he just make that up?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not the biggest defensive guru in the world, but I think that is literally the first time I've ever heard 4-1-6, other than for an area code.
I think it's called something else. I don't think they reference it in the number standpoint, but I think it's called something else. One moment, I can maybe look that up for you, Color.
I mean, why don't we just go with a 307? I mean,
or a 305. Just kidding.
Yeah, how about a 3? Well, that would be too few men on the field, Ali. That would be.
I know, but I was trying to. No, shout out to Miami zip code 305. You know what I mean? That's basically what I was going with. Sorry.
It's all right. It brought me back from the brink, bro.
It's all right. American football. I think they call this something else. I don't think it's called a 4-1-6.
Cover 6. I think Scotty's saying, is he referring to cover 6? I don't know. El Capitan even mentioned the word cover 5 and got lambasted. So I don't know, man. Because anybody cares about coming here that don't like our content. All they care about is trying to make it out like we don't know what we're talking about. And when they can't do that, they move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Now it's, we can't talk to Buffalo fans now. More it's like, look at me. We don't let Buffalo fans on our panel. Look at me. Ooh, we're not like them other guys. You know who we're talking about, don't you, Ollie? Them other guys. Wink, wink, nod, nod.
I've heard of a
bunch of fools. You know what I call people like that, Ollie? Those are the. I ain't even gonna say it, man. Those are the first people to go when the new regime takes power. That's all there is to. That's all I'll say about that. Useless idiots, man.
Oh, all right, Color. I cannot find what I thought it was called, but yeah, I don't really, on a lot of the sites that I use for that kind of stuff for information, I don't really see anything that's like a 4-1-6. I think the reason he's calling it that is because Vic Fangio has this certain scheme that he came up with that he says that's new and exciting, and it's going to be different. So maybe
I know what Mark meant. Mark just got the brunt of my energy because I mean, like, I ain't in the mood to be hearing, intellectual talk. I'm not ready for an intellectual dick measuring contest with Mark this morning. That's all.
Well, we already know who would win that contest, Color. It's not even a contest.
I mean, again, I'm not a defensive guru, so maybe I missed the new lingo. I don't know, but
no, it's all good.
Can't just make up anything we want. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
let me ask in a way which has nothing to do with dick contest or anything. He wants to know if a scheme. How do you think Ramsey is going to be used with using more people in the secondary than normal? Where we have a front four and maybe a single linebacker and everybody else in coverage. How do you feel about that?
I feel that we'd get slaughtered with a tight end if we tried something like that.
So you think it's not going to be really effective because of the tight end position primarily is what you're saying, right?
Primarily because you've left yourself with the middle of the field open and one linebacker.
Yeah, I understand. I definitely hear you. I
mean, that's a mismatch all day long. Put anybody out there against that linebacker, and it's a mismatch.
I understand, but
with no backup tackling until the corners come down. I mean,
now here's the other part of it, Color. So Vic Fangio and his schemes, he tends to like hybrid safety / linebacker type players, right?
Well, if you're talking about a 4-2-5 and you're sending one of those linebackers on a an option blitz, if you want to call it that, that's different. I can see something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think might be what he's referencing. But at the same time, if you look at like some of the type of players that we've the last 2 days we've talked about the 53-man roster from Alan Pupar and Omar Kelly, what they're projecting, right? And in the corner position, you see players like Tyrell, what's his name? God, what is his name? Trill Williams. You have guys like Trill Williams that they say is kind of part of like the safety role. So he's going to be in the safety room versus the corner room, even though he worked at corner. So maybe some of these players have like a hybrid position where they could play safety or corner. And do you think that's how they would cover up some of those tight end attacks that they might see as a defense with players like that?
I mean, I suppose, but that's kind of like that's. I mean, sounds like a little bit of reinventing the wheel to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm being a crab apple.
and to be fair, we don't know. Maybe that's what Vic Fangio is trying to do. He did say he had this never been seen before scheme that he cooked up that he can't wait to use. We don't know what it is yet. You understand?
Well, I mean, as much as I've been praising Vic Fangio and all that, I don't even think he could reinvent the wheel. To be honest with you, I think it's a That's why we have that saying, because it's a fallacy.
Yeah, that's the other guy I was thinking of, Scotty. Scotty put it in. Trill and Campbell. Campbell's the other guy that we have that can play both safety and corner.
See, I'm more of a there's no rule against copying kind of guy. Like we all got told our whole, we'd go to detention or we would get written up or whatever if we copied in school, right? Come to find out, when you become an adult, copying is actually a valid strategy in life, and there's no law against it other than copywriting. Like you can't steal somebody's like idea, but if you've got a strategy of trading stocks that makes you money, there is no rule in the world saying I can't copy that strategy. And guess what? My bank account don't give a shit that I plagiarized your strategy.
Yeah.
Money spends the same way, no matter whether I used your strategy or my strategy. So I would say to Fangio, if he is trying to reinvent the wheel, don't.
Well, it may be the same wheel, just like some variations of it. Scotty also says he would
it's a dodecahedron.
Scotty's also saying he would also say that Ramsey is a hybrid. I agree with that. In fact, that's why we got Cam Smith here, because I honestly think at some point during the season, maybe sooner than later, you're going to see Xavier Howard, Cam Smith, and Ramsey starting at the same time. I honestly think that's going to happen. And that's a way that you could see that happening. I honestly think Ramsey might play positions all over the secondary, to be fair. So,
yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he's ever been known as a non-traveler. There's some guys that that are like, hey, that guy can only be on the left side or the right side,
Yeah, definitely. Duke Thomason says you only use one linebacker on passing downs. Yes and no. So, any other questions?
I guess. But, if you're talking to match a 5 wide, I get it. But Mark's talking as if that's like a base defense. You know what I mean? Like, we'd be running that as a base defense.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Color, so the time...
If I understood his scenario correctly. Sure, of course.
Yeah. Color, it's currently 8:15 in the morning. This is top of the tailgate. Are you going to segue to coffee and a cup of color, or we give maybe the chat 5 more minutes to ask questions, and then we shut it down. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll go 5 more because I got some things I gotta take care of. I'm a little behind the 8 ball this morning.
No problem. It's okay, Color. I'm glad you came in.
And as you can tell, I didn't wake up on the correct side of the bed either. So
I can tell, Color. I still love you, bro. It's all good. It's all good. No, but in all
remember what I told you about all the things I hate floating into my head when I wake up in the morning?
I know.
I'm over this Dalvin Cook talk. I can't even begin to tell you how many weeks ago I was over this Dalvin Cook talk, man.
Yeah. To just kind of end the only reason we're talking about it is because information about it came out last night. That's why we're talking about it, first of all. So that's why we had to address it. But the other part of it is that I'm going to kind of put your thoughts in your opinions, kind of like put an end to the discussion. Is I think both situations, let it be Dalvin Cook or Leonard Fournette, it's going to be a great situation for the Miami Dolphins. We just have to figure out what the Miami Dolphins are thinking, and what they believe is the most benefit to them. That's basically what it comes down to. But I do agree with Color. If he was absolutely 100% must have, they would have done it by now. You know what I mean? I agree with that. So that's why I think it just comes down to money. But I think I trust Chris Grier is going to do what he thinks is the best for the Miami Dolphins. Let alone, remember, he's been consistent for the past 3 years. Everybody he signs, it's 2 years and you're out. There's an out after 2 years, or even at most 3 years. There's an out of the contract, so it doesn't hurt us. Where it is no long-term, purgatory of cap hell like we have been the previous year. So
I mean, here's the other thought, Ollie, is that if we're a guy like Dalvin Cook is going to command the ball. So if we're talking, everybody is so insistent that we're going to be this run first team, and we need a guy like Dalvin Cook to get 20 some snaps or carries. It's like, how do these people think that Tyreek Hill is going to get the reception he needs to get the yardage he wants? And Jalen Waddle and everybody else. And doesn't that make one of them expendable? If we're not even throwing them the ball because we're doubling our running back output?
Yeah, that's true. That's actually true. But that's something that
I just don't believe that we're that type of football team. We are a pass first team. Mm-hmm. We are gonna prefer short yardage passes over handing the ball off.
But you could also make an argument, Color, that by being a pass first or pass heavy team, it hurt us at times last season where we didn't run the ball enough to open up the passing game.
And I don't think that Dalvin Cook is going to change that one iota.
And I don't necessarily think that Jeff Wilson or some of the other running backs in this team is going to change that.
No, agreed. That's why we were all fine with our running back room. Mm-hmm. The original argument debate was, do we even need Dalvin Cook? Now it's, who's the better value, Cook or Fournette? Well, if we're talking value, then Cook should have never been in on the conversation.
Yeah. I think the only reason Fournette became in this situation is because he called out the Dolphins instead. Right,
and there were some of us that were like, pump the brakes. We haven't even got set on the fact that we need a running back right now. Yeah. And so we're looking at it like, okay, if everybody thinks we need one, what do we need one for? And when you and I looked into what we needed one for, who shines more?
Yeah, I understand. We're going to answer one more question.
Any old team just building a new team, any old team that needs a running back, yeah, Dalvin Cook's the guy. I get that. But we're not just any old team. We've got an agenda. We've got a program. And I'm sorry if it seems like if Dalvin Cook fits that program, then somebody else is out. And yes, the Dallas Cowboys have shown interest in Mostert. But as soon as I talk that, Mostert ain't going nowhere. Well, he ain't going to get the carries if Dalvin Cook's here, so who cares?
I don't really know if Mostert really cares about the top carries, to be honest. I think for him,
Well, that's evident. That's evident.
Yeah. One last question for us in color before we shut it down. Chat, put your question in chat, please, so we can answer it real quick. I want to do one more question. Mm-hmm.
Get the best. ZB83 says, get the best you can get. Well, if we were doing that at every position, we'd have an entirely different roster.
That is true.
And I'm not so sure Dalvin Cook is the best at his position.
Let me see if I can find a question. I think there was some asked previously. Scotty's asking that you brought up the left side and right side. He didn't understand why left tackle or right tackle is really the only position that matters. I don't know what he's referencing. Did you say something about the offensive line and the left tackle and right tackle?
No, that wasn't me.
Oh.
If I were to offer an answer, I'd say because, one of them is protecting the blind side of your quarterback. But
for me, there is a question mark at left tackle, though. We already know who the starter is. Who the backup will be is a big question.
Right. I think that may be what we were referring to.
Who can back up, Armstead in the event that he misses games, and knock on wood, it doesn't happen. But also at the right tackle, that's the biggest question mark, because will Austin Jackson make the leap forward that we all hoped he would? Or are we still have a big question mark, and who's going to be the flavor of the week to start in that position?
Right. And it also is going to depend on matchups. I mean, there are going to be teams we face that one offensive lineman might actually be a better option than the other, even if he's the backup, for instance.
Oh, man, that's funny. There's some funny stuff in the chat. Color, you're going to have to read it later. So Scotty says, Ali, last season, McDaniel took 26 offensive players. Does that change with, I think he meant to put Fangio. He put Gangio. This season.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
To a 25-25 split. Is he trying to say 26 offensive play? I don't understand what he's asking. Can you look at that?
Probably carries. I think that's probably carries. Yeah, yeah. I guess maybe he's saying alternate games. I don't know, because we're definitely not running the ball 50 times a game.
I'm not understanding what he's asking, but
here's the thing, Ali.
Yeah, go ahead.
If everybody's going to, because Mudbone makes a good point here. He says, insanity to stay a pass team and expecting a different result. Okay, well, first of all, we don't need to be throwing the definition of insanity around, because Stephen Ross already defined that for us, which was going with mediocre quarterbacks again is the definition of insanity. But we'll put that aside for a second, since he likes to, eat his own words. That's Stephen Ross. I'm saying. But Mudbone does make a good point. The thing I'm trying to say, Mudbone, is that what we've done is precisely the opposite. And if you think that if I were to agree with you and say, yeah, let's reverse course and stop building this pass first team, this West Coast offense. If I were to say, let's reverse course on that, that's a fair point. Dalvin Cook's not the guy. If we're even looking at Dalvin Cook over Leonard Fournette, it's because we're running a West Coast system.
I see, Scotty. I'll address in a moment once color is done.
So if we're not running a West Coast system, Dalvin Cook's not the guy. He's not gonna. If you think Dalvin Cook is gonna last more than 10 games running, 25 carries a game, I'm sorry. And even if he's done it before, I mean, you think he's gonna do it in the heat of Miami? After practicing all week? I mean, this ain't Minnesota, people.
Mm-hmm. I definitely hear you, Color. So Scotty did, to be fair to Scotty, he actually did clarify his question.
Sure.
He was referencing the 53-man roster last season. McDaniel took 26 offensive players. Does that change with Fangio being here to a 50-50 split is basically what he's asking. Do you think we're going to have more of an even roster with the amount of defensive versus offensive players? Because we were more on the offensive side last season. Look, I kind of honestly think that you are going to see it actually be a little bit more even this season, to be honest. Primarily, I think why McDaniel was here was to fix the offense first. And that's why he said at times, he said before when he got hired, there's going to be times when you see this defensive group just not performing as well. You know what I mean? Whereas the offense is. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the reason you brought in Fangio is to make sure that defense is at least performing, if not equally or just as good or close to what the offense is.
On that point, Ali, CB83 had made a really good point many, many months ago to me, which in the context of what he was using it was a bad point. But in this context, it's actually a good point. You know, we spent a lot of money on defense since Brian Flores has got here, right? We've spent a lot of money on defense. There's a large disparity of how much money we spent on defense as opposed to offense before last season, right? And and so I can understand why people are like in the building are like, yo, Boyer, with as much money as we've spent on this defense, forget the injuries. We need to perform better. We're not spending any more money on defense. We brought Mike McDaniel in. We dumped a bunch of money on offense. The disparity is equal now. Like, you know, it's evened out now with how much we've spent on both sides of the ball. You know, you got it. The defense has to perform better, Boyer. You know, so bringing in Fangio is basically saying, hey, we spent a lot of money. We got to bring in a guy that's going to get our money's worth out of what we spent.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense in the fact of why we didn't bring in, we all thought there was going to be a lot more new defensive talent brought in the free agent side. We didn't necessarily do that.
Because we've already spent that money, bro. We've already allotted that money and spent it.
Yeah, and the biggest injuries came to the secondary. So what did we do? We brought in Ramsey via trade. We brought in Cam Smith, which I don't know what's going on, but we need to get that man signed. I don't think he's signed yet, which kind of irritates me, but that's another story. So we need to get that taken care of. But I think we have addressed the secondary enough. We also brought in Deshaun Elliott. We brought in one of Fangio's kind of guys with David Long. But I think that we brought him in primarily. I think the primary objective for this season specifically is to get the most production out of the talent that's already here, to make sure we're trying to at least peak their talent that they have. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think that's where that comes from. I think it will be a little bit more even. We did sign defensive players, throughout the season, but they were getting hit with injuries. Remember, we brought in, I want to say it was Trey Flowers right after the first preseason game, and he ended up getting injured, and he was done for the rest of the season. You know what I mean? And then we had Agba get injured and stuff like that. So we have talent here. We need someone to maximize it, and I think Vic Fangio can put them in position to maximize the talent. So, but I do think it will be a little bit more even. It might be one player difference between the two, but not like it won't be overpowered on offense. It'll be because of the injury issues we had last season being in the secondary primarily. I think you're going to see, more of a even based basically.
Right. And Shake made a fair point that Dalvin Cook trains in Miami and lives here and all that. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. He doesn't play in it. There's one guy that trains in it and has played in it his entire career. And he can still catch the ball when the ball is sloppy wet.
That's true. That is true. And
I mean, it's a fair point, but the point applies also to Fournette. You know what I mean?
I mean, the other thing to think about, and listen, CB83 says, "Come on, man. You know, Dalvin is definitely the best player. Whatever. You know, I think he said he definitely fits the scheme best and everything. I hear you. I don't.
D-Hop's the best wide receiver available.
Hold on, Colin. Let me address this. I don't disagree with you. You are right, but we have to look at a couple different things here. What is the money? That's the biggest issue that we're having with this. What is it going to cost? Because I don't want to pay Dalvin Cook $10 million. Do I think it will cost that much? Probably not. It'll probably be anywhere between 6 and 8. That's just my opinion. Number two, we have to look at is, yeah, I understand how he fits the scheme, but is he really the running back we're missing? We for whatever reason screwed up on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, or the red zone running back just sucked last season. That was reality of it. And if we are if Color's right, we're definitely going to be still heavy passing. Why wouldn't you want a running back that definitely maximizes catching the ball out of the backfield? And
brings a skill set that no other running back in your room has to the table.
Both have their benefits. I'm not going to disagree. Both have their benefits. But here is something I just thought of that when you brought it up, Color, about playing here your whole career or whatever. Dalvin Cook has really only been in the NFL in an indoor stadium playing on artificial turf. Do you understand? There can be an argument made that he may not be able to maximize his ability on the outdoor real grass. Do you understand
the speed you would think would be diminished a tad.
You would think. I don't know the specifics on that, but I will tell
Although
you
the turf these days, even natural, is so good. It's like running on air. It really is.
I hear you, but what I'm
saying
you
make a fair point. I'm not sure I would like die on that hill. You know what I mean? But you do. It is a fair point.
But it's still a question mark that there might be some getting used to or transition period that he's going to have to go through to really make it a full-time thing for him. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right. And I really have to address J.R. Black's comment about the run first team. Look, we are building a West Coast offense, and this is to CBD 83's point too, that you know the zone scheme. That is the type of running we do. Yes, and Dalvin Cook fits that running scheme. But that is not our offense. That is not the orientation of our offense. Our offense is a West Coast system that relies on the pass first and play action. Okay. And you have to be able to run the ball when you need to. So yes, that's why a guy like Dalvin Cook would fit that system. My contention is we've got 4 other guys that fit it just the same. What we don't have is the guy that's a running back that's almost the size of a tight end that can catch the ball and fall into the end zone. The guy that can take the ball on 3rd and 2 and fall into the first down. Or that has enough experience to hit that hole off tackle where Chase Edmonds couldn't. You know,
not that it matters, but Leonard Fournette does have one thing that all the other running backs don't have, including Dalvin Cook, and that's Super Bowl experience.
I mean, he's got, again, that doesn't matter anymore, apparently, you know, because we don't want him.
Well, I don't say we don't want him, Color. We don't know that.
We want every other Super Bowl champion in the league, but we don't want Leonard Fournette.
I hear you. I hear your concerns. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the show. I do have to cut it down, Color. I'm sorry. Do you have any final thoughts real quick, Color?
No, that's good for, I mean, I don't need a Snickers. You
need some rest. That's what you
need some mango mentality is what I need.
Mango mint. Oh, you told me about this. I'll talk to you about that behind stages though. But make sure you hit like and subscribe. I appreciate everybody that joined Top of the Tailgate. I love the conversation. I love it when Color kind of pushes me and my thought process on things. We may not always agree, but I like that he opens my brain to different ideas to think about. So specifically when it comes to our Miami Dolphins. Make sure that you hit like and subscribe. Check out some of the other content. I believe today is Friday, so I believe Shake Money is doing a panel show tonight. So definitely check that out. You're going to want to be there. Make sure that you check out El Capitan. Check out the website. Remember, TFTGnetwork.com, your one-stop shop for TFTG everything. Check it out. I appreciate everybody. We'll talk Monday morning, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., Monday through Friday. Fins up.